Join us for a special episode of the Four Dorksmen this week when Ryan learns how to count balls. This is the way of the dork.
Welcome everybody to episode 61 of the Four Dorksmen podcast. I'm Nate, aka Angry Nate.
I'm Champ Kind. Winnie!
I'm Collector Clint.
And I'm Asian Tony Stark.
And we're all four of us are back together this week, whereas I missed last week. So thank you guys for holding down the fort and entertaining the masses. I appreciate that.
I was hoping that was
too.
it. Like, I was hoping we weren't going to come back. Like, I was like, yes, we finally rid of him. He's gone. Put out some feelers for a fourth Dorksman to come replace him.
We already had Gary. Gary could easily replace me.
Oh, easily. He would definitely be an upgrade.
Yeah, yeah.
And everything. Looks, personality.
We should get rid of the other you and Clint, and then we can bring in two Asian people, and then me and Ryan and the other two Asian people.
Oh, there's not too many people in the community I can think of offhand. Who else is?
You can bring in MC. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
and
no, we're not bringing in Mike. Goodbye, Mike.
You just sit there quietly all up. You won't even talk. Like
every once in a while, he'll be like, "Hello,"
and then bye.
He'd have the same hair as
options
Clint, though,
we
so
have
it's like a trade. It's a good trade.
It's a downgrade, but whatever. Anyway,
so we can sub out tall Joey for Asian Joey.
True.
There we go. And we got Mike with Clint's hair.
Yeah,
boom.
Or
we're done.
Or we can sub Clint out with Rach.
Also a good choice. Also,
can we get on, please?
Yes. We're like 2 minutes in, and this is already completely off the rails. Anyways, thank you for tuning in this week. Please make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram at _Dorksmen. You can always email us at dorksmen@gmail.com. You know the drill. We probably won't read it or reply, but we'll probably answer it on the air. We haven't gotten many emails lately, so you could be the first since a long time ago. Also, make sure you're playing bingo at dorksmenbingo.com.
Bingo!
As always. Ryan got a new mic, so he's just screaming this week.
All right, then.
So again, as always, thank you to Andrew Newbeardlin of the Toy Rewind podcast for always for updating the bingo card for us, and of course, shout out to Larry of the STS guys and Totally Rad Movie Pod for putting us the redirect link that makes it nice and easy for you to remember where our bingo card is.
By the way, bingo reference is one of the squares, so there you go.
I also made it weird earlier, so ding it again.
There you go.
It's like a constant thing. Like it's just like
that's like the free square every week from me. So,
but I mean, the thing is, I didn't realize you were making it weird, so I didn't ring the bell because
we're just accustomed to it now. It's kind of like if you live in a city that's got one of those plants that has a bad smell to it, and you live there, and you just get used to it, and then you go away for vacation and come back, and you're like, oh, I forgot, it's awful here.
Yeah,
it's true.
You're welcome, Clint. You're welcome.
Absolutely true.
I guess. Thanks.
That was a preemptive.
I feel like one of these days, the entire intro is just going to be bells dinging, and like just make a song.
Oh man, that'll be a real punch out if that happens.
That boy ain't right.
I feel like the bell guy shouldn't be able to ding bingo squares because he could just sit there and just start shouting.
Nate, are you annoyed by the bell?
I'm not annoyed by the bell. Actually, I missed the bell. It's been a week since I've heard the bell.
Oh man, really?
That's
like on nobody.
I hate the bell.
There it is. All right.
Nate gets angry.
Anyways, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alex.
Said that like 3 times. Yeah, and thank you, Alex, for the bell. We've seen pictures. Looks like baby and Alex and wife are doing well. So congratulations again, Alex.
And they got to enjoy a Buccaneers win today.
They did,
losing last week to the Saints.
I was like, Joey's
Even
been
if you listen to
Joey,
it didn't sound like a blowout by any stretch of the imagination.
It was not, but Brady and Breeze definitely showed their age of being in their, early 40s. It was pretty bad. I'm hoping they start feeding Latavius Murray the ball more tomorrow night as they take on the Raiders.
I think it's just out of sync, right? With no preseason, like things like. Well, I mean, we'll get into this. That's in case you didn't know, we're talking sports this week because we were supposed to talk sports last week with the NFL restart restart. Well, actually, the NFL start last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of the few leagues that actually didn't get postponed or kind of pushed out due to COVID. So, yeah, so we're gonna be talking about that to this week. So hang tight. We'll get to that after our.
I want to talk about it now.
Well, you gotta wait.
You gotta wait.
No sports.
No ice cream until you eat your Brussels sprouts.
Oh, with soy sauce.
With soy.
Of course. That's a shout out to episode 2.
And ketchup.
I wonder if there's actually a Asian Brussels sprouts recipe, like where they.
What?
I don't think that exists.
I love
like
Brussels
you know how
sprouts.
like. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm trying to make it weird.
Are you looking at me when you say that, Nate?
He was.
Yes.
He was looking directly at you, Ryan.
Crispy Asian Brussels sprouts. What makes this?
Is there sesame seeds
Oh,
and
there's
soy sauce?
Sesame
Sesame seeds?
sesame oil. Yeah, sesame oil.
Sesame oil.
Soy sauce.
Sesame
then the second
oil
one is-
in moderation, though. It's very, very
Yeah, it's very potent.
very concentrated. Yeah.
And then the second recipe on Google, because I Googled it, was
Ding the bell.
He Googled it.
Ding the bell. Kung Pao Brussels sprouts. And with that, we're just gonna go ahead and
What?
jump into the.
Let's
All right,
get to
we're-
the Q&A now.
Let's just get to
Yeah,
the
we're
Q&A.
like
Let's just
6
get to
minutes
Ask the
in
Dorksmen.
already.
It's
Yeah,
called
this
Ask
is-
the Dorksman, not Q&A.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Ask the Dorksman.
You can
First
Q&A.
question. Who's gonna Q your A?
I don't know. Somebody.
Nobody wants to
Oh
Q
my.
your A.
Oh my God!
Nobody.
Hurry, ask, go.
Quiz it. Quiz it.
First question comes from Ed, good friend Ed, butt twasted.
But 'twas Ted.
But was Ted. Oh my God, that's a good one. I like that one.
But was Ted?
So his question is a fun one. If you could travel through time and do one wacky, crazy, weird, or insane, or just plain quote unquote outlandish thing, what would it be? And Ed, I've already answered it because Ed knows the drill. He would travel back to stop Kurt Cobain from ever meeting Courtney Love, just to see how history would play out differently for Kurt Cobain if he had not met Courtney Love.
Which I wouldn't want him to do that, honestly. I mean, not that I'm a Courtney Love fan, but because of that was part of the story to get to Nirvana, that got us to Dave Grohl, that got us to the Foo Fighters. So I'm
Right.
yeah. Anyway,
Sounds
all right.
like a selfish answer there, Clint.
It is 100% selfish.
You were thinking about this one for a while.
No, actually, just popped in my head how much I wouldn't.
No.
Even though I like the answer. Yeah, there's actually a Family Guy reference where Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself, and they're like, "Kurt, your 7th album just went platinum." He's like, "Oh, great! Hey, have you met my wife, Courtney Love?" And the record producer goes, "Who?" So, I don't know. Anyway,
Joey,
do you have an
as
answer?
always.
It's a weird question to I mean, you just want to go do something silly in time to kind of change things. Like, I'm just going to go back and find George Lucas as he comes up for the idea with Star Wars and tell him Luke Skywalker's name should be, Steve Smith or something. I mean, like, what do you do, like, just to be silly in that particular situation? I
don't think you have to be necessarily silly. It just has to change.
Well,
I think he's saying don't go back and say you'd kill Hitler. Like, do something a little more.
Do something that's
not as nearly detrimental or life changing in a sense.
Could I go to when they're constructing Mount Rushmore and rig the dynamite to not form the president's heads and instead form 4 characters from Star Wars? And people would be like, what is this? What is there, like, a big furry dog on here for? A guy with a garbage can on his head. Because that's what I would do.
That sounds like a perfect thing to do.
Yeah,
that constitutes as silly. And
yeah, that's an outlandish claim.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's an outlandish. Yeah, I like that.
I like that.
Which brings up another question. Who would be your 4 Star Wars characters on Mount Rushmore?
Well, I like your idea of using the people that are like non-humans, Chewbacca, or R2D2, just to piss people off, even though we had no idea who it was when it was made, would be Jar Jar Binks.
Rude.
Yeah, it was.
Well, just put the whole Cantina band on there instead. Just put the whole Cantina band.
I knew it would probably just the non-humanoid people to have in there.
exactly.
It made me think of that Family Guy episode where they're the Cantina band and they're like, hey, we have any requests? Yeah, play the same song again. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes. Anyway, I'll take the next one. Mine actually, I came up with this pretty quickly. I would do everything.
I didn't answer the question.
Well, you answered.
Oh, Clint. It's Clint, isn't it? After Joey.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
use
he
the
answered the
question.
question already,
Me?
right? You were
I did
saying
not.
Foo
Well, he said
Fighters.
he did the opposite of what Ed would do.
Okay.
I'm saying I would
He,
no.
he wouldn't want
Sorry.
Ed to do it.
Yeah, I was telling Ed to no.
No,
I
Ed.
Mine would be
gotcha.
travel back in time to stop Ed from doing it. No, I'm kidding.
Uh,
Mine actually would be to travel back to like the early 2000s and talk PlayStation and Nintendo into pursuing their goal of combining to make the Super Nintendo CD-ROM they were talking about around that time. I would like to see what would have happened if there was no PlayStation. Instead, Sony worked with Nintendo to do whatever.
All right.
Yeah. Now it's your turn,
All right.
Ryan.
I mean, it's
All
no
right,
Star
now it's
Wars
my
Mount
turn.
Rushmore, but okay.
That's true.
It's not.
I would go back in time and make the outlandish claim that I invented the question mark.
Would you go around people saying, huh? What? See that's the question mark right there.
That is the most Ryan thing that
That
ever
is
been
very,
said
yeah.
on the podcast. I would go back and claim that I invented the question mark.
Yeah, it'd be like Dr.
Yeah.
Evil. Actually, that was his father, not Dr.
What was
Evil.
it? Was it the question mark or exclamation point?
Was question mark.
Okay.
I'm disappointed in you. I thought you were a fan
I couldn't
of
remember
his
which one it was.
name.
I am. I just was thinking.
Oh my
exclamation point.
gosh,
Sorry.
Clint.
My bad.
I honestly don't even remember that part from the movie.
I
He's
don't
explaining
either.
his heritage. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's right.
he's talking about his father. My father would womanize. He would drink. He would make outlandish claims that he had invented the question mark. Or that's not the right inflection, but yeah, that's basically the line.
All right.
Oh, that's
Very
awesome.
good. How about you, Nate?
That's a good one. Before I answer, the Chiefs tied it up.
Oh, damn it.
so
Well,
they-
at
they
least they
said
didn't
no.
win. But all right, go.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but go Chargers.
Hater. Such a hater. You don't want to see Mahomes win?
I don't. I want the AFC West to be a little more balanced, I guess.
I need him to get a touchdown in overtime. That's what I need for my fantasy team this
Focus.
week. Anyways, Ed's answer kind of inspired my answer. I would tell Tupac not to get in the car with Suge in
Oh.
Vegas after the Tyson fight. Purely again for selfish reasons, because I feel like over the years hip hop has changed, and not necessarily for the better. And without some of these artists around, that I felt like they may not have been the best in terms of talent and stuff, but just their impact and their presence on the music industry was felt so largely that when they were gone, it shifted. And it would be really, really interesting to see had that not happened, would that have not set off, Notorious B.I.G.'s murder, things like that, like all these other things,
Yeah.
and just would have changed the whole landscape of I think of music in general.
Well, just having more
Um,
Tupac music would have been.
Yeah,
by
exactly, would have
itself.
been great
Yeah.
by itself, and then that's where Ed's answer kind of inspired my thought and my answer on it. So
That's a good answer.
nothing like
yeah.
inventing exclamation mark, but
Question
tell
mark,
Tupac not to get in
not
the car.
exclamation point.
But I
By the
like
way.
that answer. I would love to have more Tupac and Biggie music myself, even though I'm not a huge rap fan. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, they were
There you go.
special. They were each one of a kind. Can't be replaced.
So Ed, thank you for the
Yeah.
answer. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thanks for answering, like you said.
Yeah. So Clint doesn't have to jump on Twitter and be like, Ed, please answer the question, because
Yeah.
you already did. We're good. Next question comes from Ferd, our good friend Ferd, who's
Ferdman.
also on an island somewhere in the Pacific.
He's
Close to Ryan.
He's in the Bay Area now. He's from Guam originally, but he lives in California.
Is he in California now?
Yes, he lives in Northern California.
Oh shit. Okay.
All this time, you thought he was still in Guam?
Yeah, I was like,
Oh
oh,
my
shit, he
gosh.
still lives over there.
No.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway.
Ferd. Focus. If you could remake one horrible movie, what would it be? And he says when he means bad, he means one that you thought was going to be good and it turned out to be horrible.
That question's so hard to answer, like for a recent movie, and the reason I say that is because of the qualifier that you thought was going to be good, because of all the preview stuff and reviews that come out beforehand where people are like, oh, this movie did not live up to expectations and stuff. So I'm gonna kind of ignore that part because I really wanted Solo to be a better movie than what it was, and
Oh.
I I think you could see potential in it. I think they were saving the whole Darth Maul storyline, spoiler alert, for a sequel that they probably felt was going to come. I don't know. I felt like it kind of came up flat. I think there was a lot more to it that could have happened and could have made it a lot better. So that'd be the one that I'd want redone.
So wait, what part of the question did you ignore?
Because the part where he said, because everybody was saying ahead of time that, oh, this movie sucks, it's not as good. That's what I'm saying. Like nowadays, it's hard to know. It's hard to go into a movie nowadays with no preconceived notion, I guess is what I'm getting at. Because there's always reviews and all that stuff that comes out ahead of time, and you'll already see the Rotten Tomato score and all that kind of stuff. And so you already have this seed planted in your head that it's going to be bad. And I think that kind of sometimes sways our opinions, whether we want it to or not.
Okay. I think you answered the question just fine, though. I think that's exactly what he was looking for, because that's exactly how I looked at it.
Yeah.
So my answer is probably not going to surprise anybody, but I would love to see. Mine would be one of the X-Men movies, either probably the most recent Dark Phoenix episode, just because they had a second chance to tell the story and screwed it up again. And would love for them to actually get that story right. So I'm hoping with Marvel taking over, maybe they will at some point, but it could have been a lot better. They had all the potential. They tried to cram way too much into it. So I would love to see. I'd love to remake that appropriately, to answer Ferd's question.
I'm gonna stay on the Marvel tip. I've said this before, even though it's likely to be coming in the pipeline. Fantastic Four, because the first two that they did, kind of comical with Jessica Alba, they were okay. The most recent one with Michael B. Jordan, that was a steaming pile of shit. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
They had
drug that poor man's name through the mud just now. Yeah. He's probably like listening to the podcast right now, like, oh, why'd you have to bring that up, Ryan? I hate that movie.
It's not his fault, man. He was just cast in a really bad version of the film. Bad storyline.
And he's a great actor too.
He's a great actor. There's a lot of good actors in that movie. It's just the storyline was not good.
Yeah,
I liked him on The Wire.
Poorly produced, way too dark in my opinion.
It was very dark.
Way too dark of approach, especially in contrast to the original that they did, which was very comical. So it was just too much of a flip.
There's certain comics that do well with that dark setting. Batman, for instance. And some people just try to go too far down that Christopher Nolan path with the movies here recently.
I don't know.
And
if
not all
really
the
done
characters
it with the Fantastic Four in general. There are characters in the Marvel universe that probably could benefit from a dark storyline like that, but not them.
Yeah, no, definitely not them. No,
not that dark. I mean, it didn't need to be that dark in general, but
yeah.
I mean, if you had a Thanos origin story, I think it would be justified to take a darker approach to it. Maybe not to that extreme, but I think that would be one avenue. I would say, yeah, it's acceptable.
I think the Hulk movies do well as a kind of a darker movie.
Yeah.
I think it fits the character with the way that the Hulk is, and just his struggles throughout a lot of the comics and stuff. Like, I mean, we're a little bit off topic, but I do like how he does kind of the comedic side to it a bit during the MCU movies, but from the comics, it's like there's a lot of just legit anger and torment in his story that doesn't get shown in the movies. So I feel like it's gonna be very interesting to see where they take his character next, because he's almost like the comic relief at this point, especially after Endgame and whatnot. So yeah,
so much stairs.
Well done, Ryan.
That microphone got like a voice thing, like it just change your voice to
voice modulator.
Yeah, voice modulator. Yeah.
New microphone. Who this?
Yes. For me, I think there's. I was thinking about the Hulk movies. I was thinking about, but I think just something from my childhood that I really thought was going to be really great, and it turned out to be one of the worst things ever, and was Masters of the Universe.
Oh,
so it's classically bad, right? Like, and it's it's one of those ones that people watch and just like, it's so bad that people watch it, and it's like a B movie, right? So, that's one thing that really hurt, like especially as a kid growing up with the Motu stuff was, man, we got a live action movie. This is going to be amazing. And it was not in the slightest amazing at all.
It's just like the
And
Mario movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another one that I was
Great
thinking
comparison.
about.
I thought that one too, but I went in another direction since I've talked about it before.
Yeah. So it was one of those ones that was just like, this is going to be awesome. We were getting live action Mario Brothers, and it also turned to be a steaming pile of crap.
But the way they're rebooting stuff nowadays is just bide your time. I mean, they're rebooting Mortal Kombat already, and they're look how many times they've rebooted Spider-Man. So I think we've all got a chance for our movies that we're talking about. Although it'd be kind of weird for them to reboot the Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
right.
Solo's too soon.
Yeah. Star Wars feels like it'd be too soon.
Yeah,
but that'd be my answer. Probably Motu for sure, and then close second would be Super Mario Brothers. So just the nostalgic stuff from when I was a kid would be. So as always, Ferg, we'd love to hear your answer. What horrible movie were you expecting to be good, or would you like to be remade much better and turn out to be horrible? Love to hear your answer. Clint's priority on Twitter, responding to you.
I already did it.
He always does.
Yep.
So as always, please make sure to drop us your questions. Hashtag Ask the Dorksmen. We do have a backlog, but we do love getting new questions. We do love answering your questions, and with enough, we might just do another Ask the Dorksmen episode at some point soon. That's what we like to do every so often because it's just a chill way to hang out for a little bit and get caught up on all the friends' questions and stuff. So, as we talked about already, this week is our main topic is going to be sports, and I guess primarily sports. And Brian's got the timer going. He's obviously been to a sports event at some point. He knows how the timer works.
Should I go get my whistle too?
Do you have a whistle?
No, I don't.
We're supposed to talk about sports last week with the NFL starting. I think the biggest thing on all our minds was, how COVID, we talked about this, was how COVID was going to impact sports. So I think I was shocked the NFL just went right ahead, and it's been going well over 2 weeks so far.
Well, I'd say it's going well as far as, they haven't had, I saw today that there was maybe a case that they were still waiting on a test to come back that they thought was going to end up turning positive. I saw Adam Schefter tweet something about it.
Yeah. Did they ever say who it was?
No, I don't think so. Not last time I looked. But I wouldn't say it's going well as far as injuries. I don't know if y'all been keeping up with what's been going on today, but
it's been bad.
I mean, other than just being bad luck and a huge coincidence that many people went out, I've got to say it's got to be something to do with just being prepared. I mean, there was little to no training camp. There was no preseason. There's a lot to be said about early on and getting in condition and getting in shape. And a lot of people don't realize how important it is to be just stretched out and flexible. Because that can help avoid certain injuries as far as your body being loose and, being able to, I don't want to say get away from an injury, but it not having the same impact that it would, if that makes sense. Like, especially some of these, MCL injuries and knee injuries that we're saying. I'm not saying they would all be avoidable, but I'm saying if it would have been a regular season, a normal season with all the OTAs and the training camp and the preseason that normally takes place, I think some of these guys would have been, their bodies would have been better prepared for what's going on. I would think some of those injuries are due to that particular situation.
I would say so too. I mean, let's be real. If you can throw your back out from sneezing, talking about like muscles and everything. I mean, it's
just
true.
one
friend,
one wrong turn.
Yeah, my friend did it a couple years ago. I'm like, you threw out your back? What were you doing? I thought he was like lifting something. He's like, no, I sneezed. I mean, it's funny, but then again, it's also not funny because we're all getting older too.
There was a Canucks player years back. He pulled his back. He put his back out, bending over to pick up a cracker that his kid dropped. The kid at breakfast on game day. He was having breakfast with his kids, and his kid, dropped something on the floor. He bent over and picked it up and was like, oh fuck, I can't walk right now because I pulled
Yep.
something in my back. And these guys are being paid millions of dollars a year with the best doctors and trainers and everything, and one wrong turn and it's just that's it, right?
Yep.
That's tough. Yeah, I'm just going through the Adam Schefter's timeline today. There's multiple ACL tears, MCL tears.
And it's a lot of big name people like Barkley and Bosa and
yeah.
Didn't CMC tears something today?
He's got an ankle injury, yeah. McCaffrey.
And I think Michael Thomas was out from something that happened earlier, so he's out already. So the injury bugs definitely, hit him hard. It's interesting to see the measures that are being taken place to try to prevent the spread of it if somebody has it. But at the same time, there's just certain things you can't do. I don't know if y'all remember, but when they were first talking about how they were going to have football season, they started talking about how they were going to try to incorporate some kind of mask filter within the face mask itself. And I think they had some of the guys try them and it just didn't work. They couldn't breathe right. They were having other kind of issues with them. And so that didn't happen. So you have on the sideline, from what I can see, none of the players have them on, even if they're on the sideline. But all the other personnel does. And to me, I understand you're eliminating some of the possibility, but you're not as eliminated as much as you can by, saying, oh, well, you don't have to wear the mask when you come to the sideline. There's certain ways at the NFL level with the amount of money that they could have. They could literally have those little cheaper disposable surgical type masks. And as soon as somebody comes off the sideline, hand them one, real quick, have a person that's their designated job. They're just like, there's a water boy. There's a mask guy.
Mask boy.
Yeah, mask boy.
Mask boy. So are they tested like before games? Do you know?
So I don't know the exact testing protocol. I know they really have a advanced contact tracing system. I don't know if you've seen it on any of the games, but they have it's almost like a smartwatch type of thing that they all have to wear that tracks, with like a GPS, and other stuff, like how close they are to people and for how long they're close to them. And then if somebody comes down with it, then they can very easily trace it back through everybody, within the organization and also, the other teams. But it's going to be interesting because I really, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic about it, but I just think it's a matter of when, not if, somebody comes down with it on the team. And then the quarantine protocols are insane. Like I was looking at one of them the other day, for school, for instance, if a kid is in contact with a parent and the parent has it, and so if you have it, your quarantine period is 10 days. So that kid has to be quarantined for their parents' 10-day period. Plus they have to also quarantine an additional 14 days on top of that.
Wow.
So that's 24 days. So I don't know if it's the same protocol with like in the NFL, for instance, if some player tests positive, does everybody else that was in contact with them for that longer than 15 minutes within 6 feet have to then quarantine for that 10 days, the player's out, and then an additional 14 days? I mean, you're talking about 3 weeks of games being missed for that. And that's if they don't come down with it themselves. Because then if they come down with it towards the end of that, then tack on another 10 days or whatever it is, because it could easily start a domino effect, even if you try to be as cautious as possible with quarantining these people as quickly as possible. And they are, I know they're testing fairly regularly because I've seen reports of, and I don't know if it's a weekly thing or if it's more often than a week, but I think they're testing at least every week, everybody within the organization that's there. So that would be, players, coaches, trainers, anybody else at the facility that would come in contact with them. I think it's a lot.
Yeah, I think was it Kansas City last week after their home opener? One of the fans tested positive.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In the crowd. So they've been limiting how many fans are in. There's I think 5 NFL cities that are allowing fans.
And they were one of the ones that was allowing them, I think. And ended up having somebody. Everybody else has just had it was the Buck Saints game last week. They kept showing in the crowd the practice squad members. That was the only people that were
nice.
really in the crowd.
Yeah. If you saw the Dallas game today, had tons of people in the crowd. Because,
did it really? Yeah, I thought I heard Jerry Jones said, "Come on in."
Yeah, so didn't Texas doing whatever they want to do?
Yeah, right. Didn't the NBA like in March before they went on their break? Didn't they have like a domino effect where like the whole Jazz had it, and then I know someone in Boston had it, and I mean that's just an example of what can happen. And with the NBA, you're talking, you have 5 guys on the court from each team at a time, and then of course the team's max is 15 players, coaches, and what have you. NFL is so much bigger than that.
Oh yeah.
And they're so much closer.
There are some positives though. A lot of the players wear gloves. Now obviously you can pick it up on your glove and spread it to yourself if you touch your face with it or whatever, but they do wear gloves. A lot of the positions do, and there are some positions that are not in close contact with people for extended amount of time.
Right.
I think linemen would probably be more susceptible, including like maybe the quarterback, because he's in that position a lot. It made me wonder if they were going to kind of change some of their scheming. Were they going to be under center less? Maybe go to shotgun more because of the possibility of coming in closer contact.
I was thinking of 5 Mississippi.
Just switch it to like 7-on-7, old school Madden, 7-on-7 instead of fielding the whole team. But
so let's ask this question. How long do you think? So it sounds, Joey, I think I'm in the same boat you are. I don't think we get through a whole season of the NFL. So when do you think it gets called?
I see. That's the thing. I honestly think, and I don't mean to be this guy and sound like this, but there's too much money at risk for them just to shut it all down. I think what may end up happening is if you have a situation where you have a huge outbreak and a team's got to sit out, I think you almost try to figure out something to do makeup games, or I don't know. NFL's so weird, because of the possibility of injury. It's not like a basketball or a baseball game that can just be made up real quick, squeeze another one in here, or, at the end of the season, you can play an extra one or something. So that's more of my question. I don't think that they would shut the whole thing down. I think it'd have to get pretty bad to where like the majority, so talking about more than 16 teams, like the whole teams are quarantined for them to do something that drastic. And I don't know if that will happen. I'm saying it can't, but I don't know if it will. But I'm interested to see what happens if a team's got to be like the majority of a team's got to be quarantined, right? To where they can't even field the team properly for a week. What are they going to do with that game? Like, are they just going to call it a, no contest between the two teams and you're not going to make it up? Because there's so much that plays into that at the end of the season. If you're saying, oh, this team only got through 15 games,
right,
but all these other teams got through 16, it changes their percentage of their, and then it changes head-to-head possibilities when you're talking about tiebreakers for seeding in the playoffs or even making the playoffs. There's just so much stuff that I don't know if they've even thought about.
Think about it like this too. So if a team has such a concern that they have it, they played somebody, that team's got to quarantine. So that's 2 games right there that they don't play.
Also, because we were talking about this on our own standpoint, if it happens to be too long before you caught it, and then those 2 teams that played each other. So like say it's the Chiefs and Chargers that played this weekend. Well, come to find out somebody on the Chiefs team had it. And then the next 2 teams that are played by each of those 2 teams are also affected by possible quarantine. Right. So it could have a big domino effect, not only within a team, but within the league itself.
It's one of those things. It's so like baseball they had a was it in Philly? They had an outbreak.
Marlins did too, I think.
Yeah, Marlins did too. So they canceled a few games, but with the way the baseball works, it's easy enough for them to play a couple doubleheaders.
Right, and make up that. And you can't do that in football.
Those games. Yeah, football, you can't expect these guys to play more than 2 times in a week, honestly. Like even when you do a Thursday night and like the following Sunday, it's like that's already a really quick turnaround for them, right?
Yeah, they already complain if they've got a Sunday night game and then have to turn right back around and come play the Thursday night game. So I can only imagine saying, okay, you're playing Sunday, Thursday, and then the next Sunday.
The Monday? Like
Right, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if they would end up, like, if it started kind of going, quote unquote, downhill, I'm wondering if they would pull NBA and do some kind of NFL bubble where they end up, saying, okay, we're moving everybody to XYZ location, somewhere that's got a bunch of different, maybe college, professional fields around their area. But then that becomes a logistical nightmare from the standpoint of, okay, now there's colleges and other teams that have been, that would be using these facilities. Because with the NBA, it was a little bit different because they planned it ahead of time and said, okay, we're going to do everything in Orlando. Disney's got this setup where they've got multiple courts, that we can use. NFL is a lot different, as far as the field, because then you got to talk about, okay, well, where are you going to practice at? And how are you going to share the practice time? And then, when it comes to game day, how's that going to work? So I don't know. I haven't heard a lot, unless y'all have, about just, oh, here's the emergency plan in case something like that does happen. Like, I haven't heard that. And I would think that with an organization that big that makes billions of dollars, that they have something, right? And that maybe they just haven't, that they maybe just haven't let the public know, oh, here's what our contingency plan is if things should go south. But again, I just don't see them saying, okay, it's done, we're not going to try to make it happen, and just end up losing out on all that money.
Real quick, can you explain the bubble to anybody that doesn't know what you're talking about with the NBA?
Oh, okay. So what they decided to do in the NBA when they started the season back up is move all of the games to the facility. I want to say it's on Disney World's actual space at the Wide World of Sports, or at least that's what it used to be called, the ESPN facility that they have, so that the teams would go through like I guess I want to call it a quick play-in opportunity to decide the seeding for the NBA playoffs. So they kind of self-quarantined, and within the facilities themselves, and they all stayed there, and they had certain, extra
nobody could come in,
measures,
nobody could leave,
right?
Basically, yeah.
That they were going to take to do everything within that one location. So that's why it was called the bubble, because, it's like Bubble Boy, just protecting everybody and trying to get it done,
which they are still doing. I mean, that's still, even though the NBA is only down to 4 teams, those 4 teams are still in the bubble while everybody else is left and cannot come back.
And I haven't heard any positive reports from any of the players.
No,
like
they've
positive
been
tests.
Right.
Yeah, they've been negative the whole time. There've been some investigations. I think one player walked out just past the border to pick up like an Uber Eats order, so he had to quarantine for 4 days. Apparently someone snuck one of the testing people into their room in the bubble, and that was being investigated as well.
Oh boy!
Because apparently staff aren't supposed to, be in the players' rooms, obviously, because the staff don't stay in the bubble. The staff go home at the end of the night. So, so there's been a few small incidences with that stuff, but other than that, I think they've been quite good, and it's actually very interesting to see, because it's one of those things where people are like, oh no, this bubble's not going to work. Like, people, you can't trust them. Like, of course you can. These guys this is proof that if you stay away from each other and contain the virus has nowhere to go. So, it's basic science, and they're proving it. And I'm glad it's the NBA. I'm glad it's the NHL. I'm glad it's these big money making leagues that are proving that this is working. And there's facts here that show it's working.
So, because I don't keep as much up with NHL, what did they do?
They did a bubble as well.
Okay.
So they had 2 bubbles actually. One in Toronto for the East Coast, for the Eastern Conference, and one in Edmonton for the Western Conference. And then once that was all done, so now they're down to the Stanley Cup Finals, where there's just 2 teams, and now they moved the teams to the bubble in Edmonton. So that's where they're playing. And one of the craziest thing, it's like they're doing kind of everything they can to make it as the best out of a bad situation in terms of like how the stadium works and everything. Was really cool that I saw was that they actually have they built like a stand in the rafters for the Stanley Cup. So these guys are playing for the Stanley Cup, and they just look over the benches, and the Stanley Cup is literally
Just
sitting there.
Like literally,
So it's
eyes on the
really,
prize,
really
right?
cool. Yeah. So like that's really, really cool. So I know kudos to NHL for doing something like that. One thing I saw today that was just hilarious and just really depressing to see was that the Dallas Stars are in the Stanley Cup Finals. They're up 1-0 in the Cup Finals against the Lightning right now, and they showed the Edmonton Arena where it was no fans because it's in the bubble,
Right.
and then they showed a watch party in Dallas, and it was packed,
Oh,
full of
boy.
fans, and like the irony of that is just, oh my god,
Well, we're not-
like the whole reason
yeah.
why we have the bubble is to keep you from doing that. And then in Dallas is just this massive watch party. Of
Well, you
people
got to keep in
crowded
mind, Tampa
together.
Bay's in Florida. I'm sure they're doing much worse. There's probably an alligator involved or something.
Yeah.
So.
And some meth.
Yeah.
By
But
the
I
way,
can't forget
I don't think Edmonton's all that west. Is it in Alberta?
It's like it's a province over. So
I mean, it's more
West-ish.
west than Quebec.
West-ish.
But,
Yeah,
West-ish.
yeah, it's hard to call that
west-ish.
west. I have to apologize, Ryan. I interrupted you. You were saying something back when we were talking about the NFL. I apologize for that.
No,
Do you
no,
remember
no.
what that was?
I'm just trying to put my 2 cents in here because obviously I'm like the pro expert on sports ball here between the four of us, right? I was gonna say I think just from a like you're talking, Joey, more from like a logistical standpoint for one, right, within the league, but we're also taking into consideration anybody that is advertising with the league, right? So think of it from like the boardroom executives, all the money that's been thrown into marketing, all this other stuff, advertisements for brands that also are contributing money to the league. Those parties also probably have their agenda as far as what needs to be going on with the league. How are we going to move forward? What's going to happen if XYZ happens or AB happens? So I'm sure there's multiple contingency plans from an executive level if quote unquote shit hits the fan. That's just
There's got to be, because they're not going
Yeah.
to miss out on that
It's
money
gotta
if
be.
they don't have to. They'll try to figure something out. And like I said, I just don't know what that could be. I mean, I'm sure there's areas like Texas, for example. A lot of their high schools have what would be at least college level fields that they could play at. But then again, you have the whole situation of, trying to, although, high school is mainly on Friday night. So I guess you could play that. And then the college has Saturday night. So the NFL could come in on Sunday night. So I think it could be done in an area like that. But I don't know. You'd have to change, I think, kind of like what the NBA and NHL did as far as like, okay, how are we going to figure out a winner? Because we're going to probably have to have more than one bubble area.
Right.
As far as, so you're going to almost have to change the schedules up, I think, like mid-season to say, okay, well, you're not going to go because we're going to keep, these, 8 teams here, these 8 teams here, these 8 teams here, these 8 teams here, and they're going to just all kind of continue to play some kind of round robin for the weeks until we determine who it is, and then go to the playoffs from there. And like what Nate was saying with the NHL, bringing them in, go from 4 locations to 2 and then eventually to 1. But you've got to make one. You've got to make that ultimate location still wherever the Super Bowl is. Year, I'm trying to remember where it is. Tampa Bay, I think, because I remember Alex talking about hopefully the Bucs having the first home field advantage on the Super Bowl. Because you can't take that away from people. I mean, I guess you technically could take it away from people, but again, you're talking about a lot of money.
Right. A lot of money.
Yeah, that Tampa Bay is going to be missing out on if that happens, and if you say you can move it somewhere else. So there's a lot of moving pieces for the NFL. It's definitely a bigger monster than the other major league sports to figure out.
Yeah, number of teams and coaches by itself would just be insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the organizations are so much bigger,
right?
And there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Vancouver was one of the cities that was considered for the NHL restart bubble. We were actually one of the finalist teams, one of the finalist cities that they were going to actually block off, like, a huge chunk of downtown and host all the players and host the playoffs instead of Edmonton. And our provincial or health advisor, Dr. Bonnie Henry, who has been, I'm sure you guys have heard of her at some point on Twitter and stuff, where she's the way she's handled it for BC, and she met with the NHL and they were like, no, these are our demands of what you will do in the bubble, and this is how we're going to handle it in Vancouver. If you can't abide by these rules, we don't want the NHL here. And the NHL was like, no, sorry, these are too strict. We're going to Edmonton. So, I'm glad it worked out for Edmonton, but I'm also very glad that we have a health officer that is looking out for the people and
Sure.
making sure
Yeah.
that they're keeping us safe first and foremost over a big NHL payday, because that would have been a big NHL payday,
Right.
to host the playoffs here in the city.
That's the root of everything right now. Is the evil behind it all is too many people are concerned about how is this going to affect the wallet. And I get it. You're a corporation. Many of them are hemorrhaging money. We brought up Disney before, but Disney themselves is just hemorrhaging money each and every day. And I get that. However, where do you draw the line? Where's the line in the dirt?
Right.
Public health, monetary stability, right? Because it's true. The U.S. alone, we've lost 200,000 plus people now. This is ridiculous.
Right. It's getting ridiculous.
So
It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. What does anybody know what baseball's doing? I'm not a big baseball fan, so I haven't been
they're
following
still
it.
playing, but
I know they're
how
playing, but I
everything
think there's
works
been, and this is like hearsay, heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who, that there's been like games postponed, and baseball is unlike the NFL, even unlike these playoff games in the NBA and the NHL, where you can reschedule them or double headers or whatever the case is. And I think I've heard that they've actually had to cancel numerous games, or not cancel, postpone, reschedule multiple games because of players infected. And I don't think they're doing any kind of bubble or doing any kind of anything that I know of.
That's what we're talking about. I know it was a month or two ago, maybe the Marlins went through it, and I think Nate was mentioning the Phillies had the same thing happen. But then you don't hear much more about it. So I'm not sure if those are the only two major outbreaks or what happened, but they're not doing the bubble thing. They're more taking the NFL approach. But like you said, it just makes it that much easier. So where they have to be, they don't have to be less cautious, but I think they are less concerned about location bubble type situations because of the fact that, if they quarantine for a couple of weeks, they can make them up.
Right.
But
they can make those up.
So one thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Joey.
No, I was just going to kind of build off of what Ryan had said when he was talking about the money aspect of it. With all those professional teams, that's your decision. I know in the NFL they were given the option to opt out at the beginning, and a few of them did. There weren't very many big name players, but some of them did opt out and say, I'm just not playing this season because it's not worth the risk. But you have a situation like college football, which is a huge moneymaker. I don't have the statistics on it, but I would say it's probably ranks up there with some of the professional sports as far as, money being made from, television contracts and merchandising and all that kind of stuff. Those kids don't earn any money for that. They're not, even making the base $100,000 something contracts that some of those NFL players are making that are on the practice squad. They're just out there. A lot of them are just playing for the game. Some of them know they're never going to go on and play on a Sunday, or they're playing for their scholarship so they can keep their scholarship and continue at a good college to get a degree to, have a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday type job, when they get done playing in college. And those are the ones that I'm, concerned for. As far as, what's going to happen if something comes down to it, something happens to them, and there's like, you got COVID and you're out for, but some people it's just not a quick bounce back. They're out for months, and what's going to happen to that kid if he's out for months? Is he going to lose his scholarship? Are they going to, extend some kind of medical red shirt to them, to allow them to get their season back if it was their senior season, and they're not able to go to classes. So there's a lot of questions I have about the college level, especially the college football, since it started back up, and what's going to happen to some of these student athletes if they happen to contract it.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't have an answer. I mean, I feel bad for the people that have to think about that, because I can't imagine.
There's just way too many contingencies going on, and there's way too many variables that are being extended to people. It's like they need to just make a firm decision from like an executive level per se, right? This is the executive level decision. The 3 people under that make it happen, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but of course,
you
it's not
just gotta
happening.
Prioritize people before money.
Yeah, it's
hard.
Unfortunately,
it shouldn't be a hard ask, but it is a difficult ask in this day and age, which is very unfortunate. Which is one thing I wanted to bring up about the baseball talk was the Blue Jays. They play out of Toronto, and Toronto they're also kind of been very strict about gathering sizes and things like that, and the Blue Jays aren't playing their games. They're not playing their home games in Toronto this year while the baseball season's happening, they wouldn't let them. So they're actually playing most of their games down in Buffalo. It's just across the border.
Really?
Yeah. So
Did
they're
not-
actually
did
playing.
not know that.
They're playing their home games down in Buffalo, one of the AAA stadiums. So, yeah, it's really it's encouraging to see the Canadian government and the people here kind of take it seriously. I know there's people in the U.S. that are taking it seriously, but I just feel like there's not enough, and and that it's really hard to see when you guys are all over there, and it's like should be a no-brainer for for your government to care about the people,
Right.
and they're prioritizing money over health and over people, and it's terrible.
Yeah,
And
it's an
I think you're
asinine
preaching to the
concept.
choir. So,
Yeah.
so are college games starting up now? I know there's
Yeah.
been talk of which
Yeah,
ones
they've
are
already played. My
already-
alma mater played this past weekend, or
for the first
yes-
time.
Saturday. Yeah, I think this was their first one. Although they had some games last weekend. I know there were some games that were going on as well. I think just probably depending on what your conference was when it started back up. I think SEC starts next weekend, but there's still a few conferences that still stuck by their deal that they're waiting until the spring. I have not been able to find anything about how they're going to do a national champion this year because of all that. I mean, not all the conferences that normally get into playoffs are going to be playing football right now. So I'm just wondering like how the NCAA is handling that. So are you going to say, oh, well, you have to play in the fall to, be considered for the national championship? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't imagine figuring that one out.
But yeah, college football started back up already. So they're rocking and rolling. They're already playing.
Yeah,
And
they're already going. Yeah.
high school here, we were actually, believe it or not, we were actually one of the last southern states to start back up and approve high school football to get going back already. There were several states around us that had already gotten going. I think like first scrimmage or jamboree maybe is like next weekend or something like that. So they're starting back up even on the high school level around here and have in the South already in some of the other states.
That's cool. Yeah, it's I mean, personally, as being selfish, I'm enjoying sports being back because it's a nice way to spend the weekend or evenings just watching sports and stuff. But as long as they continue to do the proper protocols, I guess that's all we can kind of hope for and hope the best for. But it's a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, I haven't watched any of it. I haven't watched any of my Nuggets. Usually I'd like to watch them, and it's like I can't get into it anyway because of everything going on. Same thing with even the Broncos or the NFL. Like I watch my fantasy teams, but like I have not, like, even though sports is back, and I know people have different degrees of it, but I have not felt like watching anything at all. And then, I mean, that includes anything where people are getting together in mass like that. Not that I watch wrestling, but that's one. Or just I have no inclination to watch any of it. I'd rather just hang out on streams or hang out with you guys here podcasting and stand by the fact that despite what I think at least the United States think, COVID is still around and strong and possibly going to get stronger here in the fall. So
yeah, that's the scarier thing is when the weather starts to turn and it starts to cool off. A lot of the medical professionals think it will take a turn for the worst.
So back to the question I asked Joey earlier about how long I think the NFL is going to go on. I think week 10 is as far as it's going to get. I hope I'm wrong.
The whole thing will just get shut down at week 10.
I think there'll just be too much. Yeah, I think there'll just be too much. I'm okay being wrong. Let me make sure I emphasize that, and I'd be okay. And originally I thought 8, but so far so good. But it's only going to be a spark that starts the fire kind of thing, and things start happening.
So that's roughly 2 months from now. So that's mid-November. That's right before Thanksgiving, which is kind of when flu season starts to really ramp up. So it'll be interesting.
It will. Again, I'm A-okay being wrong. In fact, if you guys want to rub it in my face that I am wrong when that happens, I would smile and take it on the chin, no question. But
take it on the chin.
I don't want to be right.
Choice.
It's one of those things where we don't want you to be like, we want you to be wrong.
Yes,
But,
I want to be wrong.
you
I
know,
just
Let's
I'm
all
just
root
never
for
thought-
Clint to be wrong.
yeah,
on
that's all-
this. You don't have to root for anything else. At least not
Yeah.
yet. But at least on this, week 10 is my estimation.
Yeah. It's weird, right? Because it's like you said, there's so many people. They're all going home at the end of the night when they finish playing. They're living their life during the week, and then they're gathering with all these like about 100+ other people, on a weekly basis after they've been wherever they go.
Yeah.
And in different states have different rules of gatherings and things like that. So could be anything. Could go either way. One of the craziest things I remember just the other day when we're driving out over here to North Van, we're going past some schools, and I ducked out of work a little bit early on Friday, and we saw schools getting out, and there was just kids everywhere. And I'm just like, this is not a scene that this is nothing that I've seen. I've seen this many people in a together in like months, like in close to 8 months. I haven't seen this many people, together. And it just gave me anxiety. Just be like, there's all these kids and there's parents and there's just all these people around. And yeah, and just carrying it right back over to the sports thing. It's like, this is just it's just a bad idea, especially heading into the winter time. And hopefully we're wrong, and hopefully everyone stays safe and we can get through this thing. But we'll.
Nate, you want to give your public service announcement to everybody on how to handle this?
Wash your damn hands. Wear a mask when you're in public. Just follow the rules. It's simple.
Yeah.
Can we also say wear your mask properly?
Yes.
None of this letting your nose hang out of the top, because I'm sure everybody's seen that comparison. It's
I was at the post office the other day and a dude was chewing on his. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Wearing your mask with your nose sticking out of it is like a male wearing underwear with your genitalia hanging out the front. It's not even same thing,
Yeah.
Right.
Wear your mask properly. Don't be a dingus.
Wear it properly. Yeah, don't be a dingus.
Actually, I'm sorry. That's being negative towards being a dingus. We don't want to shame
Give
Clint
dingus
like that.
is a bad name.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give dingus.
Don't be an idiot. Protect yourself and be conscious to what you're doing to others.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what it boils down to. If we all take care of each other, it'll work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think last week, one of the NFL coaches was wearing his mask like kind of down. He was just basically he had it on, but he had it pulled down most of the game. And I think the people like reporters and stuff were like, well, like hopefully the NFL will enforce proper mask protocols for coaches and stuff like that. Because I think there are, like, I think if you're not a player, I think you basically have to be wearing a mask on the sideline.
Or the face shield like Andy Reid.
Yeah. He needs wipers for his face shield.
You saw he got one of the, I guess it's the same stuff that goalies wear in the NHL. The mask that he had on this week, because it's got like the anti-fog.
Oh, yes,
or something. Yeah. Or I guess any of the players probably have that, even the ones that it just goes over the eye portion. But so he was no fog today. It was nice. Pretty good.
Good for him. But yeah, one of the coaches, and then I think this week I forget who it was, but he was just like, you know what, that he's like, I'm certain that message was for me. I apologize. I'll be more aware of it. And I think he wore his mask properly this week. So if someone's fined. Yeah, he probably got fined by.
Probably got a pretty hefty fine. I mean, you are a public figure, right? People look up to
you. You're on
what
TV.
You do.
Yeah, millions
people look
of people,
up to you. You have to uphold that responsibility of being a good person and being a role model for others that look up to you. There's a big responsibility that comes along with being that kind of role. So, either fill it or somebody's going to demean you for it.
Yeah.
Let's stop it there.
Yeah.
Yes. And the Chiefs won, by the way.
Yeah, I saw. Meh.
Sad Clint.
Sad Clint.
Well, you know what? Though, speaking of games and fun, it is the return of.
Oh, I didn't do one for this week.
Oh, liar.
It's game time!
There it is. Let's do it.
Yes. This week's game. Sorry, Nate. It's called.
Is it called? Sorry, Nate.
It's called Math. Now with 100% more sports.
Oh boy.
So I'm going to give you a description or descriptions of different significant sports numbers in a simple, maybe not for Nate, but for the rest of you, in a simple math equation. So you will need to give me the correct answer using only pencil and paper. No cheating, no using calculators. Ryan, put your abacus away. You will earn the number of points associated with your answer. No stealing. And you take turns choosing a number 1 through 15. Most points at the end wins. So, for example, I might say something like, what is Tom Brady's current jersey minus Drew Brees' current jersey? So it'd be 12 minus 9. So your answer would be 3, and you would earn 3 points.
Okay. All right.
And we'll let Clint start us off. Pick a number 1 through 15.
6.
Number 6. The number of NFL players on the field for defense plus the length of an NFL quarter.
In minutes?
Yes, I'm sorry, in minutes.
So the number of players on the field for the defense plus the amount of time in minutes for a quarter.
Correct.
So that'd be 11 plus 15. That gives you 26.
Correct. Very good, Clint. Ryan.
I'm gonna do so poor at this game. 14.
Number 14. The number of outfielders in baseball at one time plus the number of bases on a baseball diamond.
7.
7 is correct. Look at you said you were going to do poorly.
Well,
and
I
you
know
already
stuff
got
about baseball,
7
so-
points.
Oh, the last
Well,
one
you
said,
picked 12 then.
13.
Nathaniel.
3.
Uh-oh.
I could not have scripted this to be any more perfect.
All right.
Number of Cowboys Super Bowl wins since 2000 plus the number of Patriots Super Bowl wins since 2000.
That in itself is already like I don't even know those numbers off the top of my head.
Oh, please. You know at least one of them.
Yeah, you know how many Super Bowl wins the Cowboys have?
I know how many the Cowboys have. I'm gonna say 4.
No. So the Cowboys, how many wins do they have Super Bowls since 2000? Nate, can you tell us?
Womp
You know
womp.
the answer.
It's 0.
Womp,
So
womp.
0 plus 6 for the Pats
6
is 6.
6 for the Pats.
So that'd be 0 points for you
Yeah.
earned.
How many
Just
points?
Like
Brady
Ryan.
has
Ryan
enough for
points.
has enough for one hand and then some.
Yeah,
And
that's
And a
true.
thumb. Yeah. I'm going
I
to go
like
number
that.
1.
That's the title. One hand and a thumb.
Number 1. A perfect game in bowling divided by a perfect score in gymnastics.
Okay. Well,
I actually
perfect
know
score.
this. I'm happy.
Yeah, I know this too.
Well, what I'm running into is the gymnastics part. Obviously, in bowling, the perfect score is a 300.
Stop stalling, dingus.
The perfect score in gymnastics, I'm going to say is 10, meaning the answer is 30.
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
Very
I didn't know
good.
if it was if we were doing each independent judge's score added up. Okay. I got it. Cool.
Clint is wiping the floor with y'all. He's picked a lot of the big ones, but there are some other big scores left. Ryan, let's see if you can pick one of them.
9.
The number of points that Wilt Chamberlain famously scored in just one game, which still stands as the record for most points scored in an NBA game, divided by the number of basketball players on the court for one team.
What in the hell? It would help if I
Nate, do
knew
you
the
know
first
this?
part of the answer.
Nate, do you know the first part?
I do.
I do too.
I'm not gonna get it right anyway, so I give up.
No, guess something. Just guess.
Guess something.
number.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Pi.
It is not 3.14 with a bunch of other infinity numbers. Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a game. Divided by 5 would have been 20 points.
Somehow I thought it was going to be higher, like 120, but I don't know.
No. Then the second is Kobe with 80. So
Yeah, Kobe's
Kobe.
against the Raptors.
Nate.
number 10.
Ooh. The number of events in a decathlon times the number of events in a pentathlon.
Ooh.
In a decathlon and then a pentathlon.
Correct.
And it's multiplied.
Correct.
A pentathlon's not a thing, so it's 0. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So I know it's 10 and 50.
50 is correct.
Good job.
Pentathlon is 5.
Mhm.
Very good. That was the top one to get, Nate.
Hell yeah.
Clint.
Let's go number 12.
Number 12. Number of pins in bowling times the number of holes in a bowling ball.
So there's 10 pins. There's 3 holes. The answer is 30.
Correct. Clint keeps getting some of the big ones here, guys. Y'all need to pick some better numbers. Nate.
Number 2.
A NFL touchdown times a hat trick.
That would be. Are we counting field goal or no field goal for the touchdown?
I am not repeating myself.
18.
18's correct. I was going by the
Going by
technical. You get
right.
6
Touchdown,
points for getting in the end zone. Yeah.
extra
Because
point
technically,
is-
you go for 2 points after. So
Right.
What number was this again?
That was number 2.
2. Sorry.
All right, Clint.
I'll take 4.
Number 4. And my fault. I just remembered that when I made this game 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to put in some bombs and make it 1 through 20 just to make it interesting, some traps, and I forgot. So it's just all straight points this week.
Oh, well. Was
You
4
said
going to
number
be one of the bombs or what?
No,
Reminder
I
of it?
just thought, Clint's in the lead, and
Gotcha.
this would help people out if there were traps.
Well, 4 is my answer.
You should just feel better that the other two normally need help in order to beat you, Clint.
I do.
Maybe
I don't
I'll
remember
throw-
last time. Go. Hey, let's play 4,
Maybe
please.
I'll throw a curveball at you.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Michael Jordan's jersey number when he came out of basketball retirement
Okay.
minus the number of his NBA championships.
I know the NBA championships is 6. I'm just trying to remember his jersey number. So I don't think it was 23. I think it was 45, which makes it 39.
That is exactly correct. Very good. I think I heard Ava in the background giving you the answer,
Yeah,
but
she's-
I'll let
she's
that
shouting.
one
Oh, Ava-
slide.
She was shouting the numbers.
Ava's watched The Last Dance multiple times. So that makes sense.
39, Daddy.
Of
All
course, she
right,
thinks it comes after 8, but whatever.
Let's go at 15.
Number of laps on the track in an Olympic mile run times the number of medals awarded for the event.
12.
12 is correct. Very good. You're up to a whopping 19 points. Clint's probably nervous right now. Nate.
Hello. Let's see what numbers are left.
We have
5,
left
8,
5,
11,
8,
13.
11, 13. Yes, me and Ryan are the same person.
I'll go 8.
8.
Yes, 8.
The number of holes in a standard round of golf minus what you yell when you hit your golf ball.
14.
14. It would be 18 minus 4.
Price is wrong,
Clint.
bitch.
Yes.
Let's go lucky number 13.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yes.
Is that
you
your
are Ava
official answer? Because that's not right.
That sounds just like me, I know.
Kobe's first jersey number plus Kobe's second NBA jersey number.
All these softballs for Clint.
Problem is I don't remember the first number. I know it's in the
Oh.
20s, but I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it's 24 plus 8, so 32.
32 is correct.
I almost went 23 on that one. I'm glad I changed that.
Daddy,
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Yeah, shush, Daddy.
Yeah,
Shut
shut
up,
up, Clint.
Be quiet, Clint. Jeez.
Yeah, Clint.
Oh, that's
jeez.
great.
Yeah.
Talk too much.
Tell me about it. Ryan.
Look who's talking.
So 5.
Number of balls in a full count in baseball times the number of innings in a regulation MLB game.
Okay, so count of balls in a full count and kind of was it plus or multiply?
Times the number of
Times.
innings.
Okay. Wait. I'm getting myself screwed up because I was adding. 45.
No, how many balls do you think's in a full count, or how many innings do you think's
Oh,
in a
wait,
game?
you're saying? Ah, damn it! I answered wrong.
Oh,
I see.
You want to
I see
redeem
what,
yourself?
I want to know what math you did there, though. I'm
No.
curious.
because he's saying balls. I was thinking the amount of balls thrown
Right, balls
in a
and
full
strikes.
count, not
Yeah.
actual
Oh,
balls
I
and
see.
strikes.
Yeah, so he's
Okay.
thinking, yeah. So
Yeah.
he's thinking 5 times
Oh,
9. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 That's
sorry.
why I was
It
thinking. Okay, wait. Am I doing this right? No.
Yeah.
It was
That's what I did initially
27.
until I. Yeah. That's what I had in my head until I thought about it too.
All right, Nate, bring it home.
Too much.
All right. Number 15, right?
11.
11.
Okay, you should deduct points from him for the sole fact that he's not keeping track, and I clearly am because I'm writing it down here.
Total number of soccer players on a pitch plus the number of timeouts you get in a FIFA match.
I'm gonna get the bag.
Man, Chew Boy's gonna be so mad if you don't know this.
You better know.
I know how timeouts. You can't. There's the answer is 22 because there's 22
The
players.
answer is
You don't get any
22. Exactly correct. 22 plus
timeouts. You
0
don't
is
get any
22.
timeouts in soccer.
I thought I'd throw you for a little bit of a loop.
Yeah, I
there
was like,
for at
wait a
least
second.
And
thought you
the
were gonna say-
winner today is Ava Crockett. Congratulations,
Yay,
Ava. You are this
congratulations,
week's
Ava.
winner of math.
That's my girl. I'm so proud.
How many points
Fires
did Clint
Crescent
get? Because
Candy.
he got like some crazy amount.
A lot. He got, let me do the math real quick, 60, 86, 100 and...
Jesus. Okay, never mind. We're good.
Now I want to know. I didn't even.
157? That could be wrong.
We're good.
I
Close
just did
enough.
it in my head.
Close
I'll take
enough.
it.
It was
I'm
a
a-
pretty big butt whooping is the
That was
gist
the
of
big
that.
one. Yeah.
I haven't had a win in a while, so I'll take it.
Congratulations, Clint. I mean,
I
I
yeah.
did
do
it.
as bad as I
Ava,
thought
I
I was
did it.
gonna do, though.
Ava did well.
Ava's
I know
smart,
she was
I'm telling you.
feeding you all the answers. That's why she was in
Yeah.
the room just now. When
And
you
the thing
were
is, she was doing it
playing.
with hand signals. It's amazing.
Which is
It
amazing.
is.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
she's
Ryan
like a
did
base-
pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
had he understood the question, he would have gotten.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me, though, right? I mean, even Nate.
It's
was
true.
like-
Yeah, that's because
Yeah.
I was. That's what
He
I
didn't
thought
finish
too.
with Ryan points. He did get Ryan points for
Yeah.
3 rounds, but he did finish with 19. So
I
that's
got some questions that
commendable.
were like, okay, I clearly don't know anything about this. If you gave me the bowling one, I would have easily rattled. it.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. You learned today that Will Chamberlain has the highest scoring single player in a game.
I know that
ever.
he was. I just didn't know the exact.
Just know the
score.
number.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know the number.
Whether or not I'll retain that is another question.
100's a pretty easy number to remember. You need to see the picture in black and white where he's holding the 100 on a piece of paper and never forget. Anyway, good game as always, Joey.
Yeah, thank you.
We
Joey.
missed him. We missed him the last couple weeks, so glad to have it back.
Hopefully be back in a groove here.
There you
There
go.
we go. That'd be good. Yeah. So thank you everyone for hanging out, listening to us talk sports, play a very, very fun math game where I didn't fail miserably at my math, which is always a bonus. just a couple of last second things here. Just make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Dorksmen. You can always email us at dorksmen@gmail.com. Make sure you're playing along on dorksmenbingo.com. We've also got some streams probably happening this week. I know Clint's going to be doing probably some Splatoon. I know Splatoon's on sale right now, so if you want to hop on that, Clint will send you his friend request or friend code on Twitter.
Or look for it at @the_Dorksmen.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that sometime this week. I'm sure Ryan will be doing some streams since he's locked at home still. He'll probably be doing some creative stuff, doing
We'll
some more
see.
graphics probably. Yeah.
I've been having fun playing Call of Duty and getting really frustrated.
There you go. So that's
I've got a lot of chance to practice my no.
That's perfect. That's the perfect scream. Yeah, hopefully Joey and I will be able to get onto some Fall Guys at some point. Maybe not this week, but I know in the near future we definitely want to do that because we do have a good time doing that. But there's some life things happening at the moment that are going to be slowing us down a bit on that front. Yeah.
Wait, what about Friday night?
Yes, Friday night. We're doing Jackbox Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific. We've been doing that for the last long time now, and it's been a good time. As always, you can always just hang out in the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/the_Dorksmen. Or you can do both and jump on the Zoom/Ring Central call with us as well. We always like to see your happy faces hanging out, chatting with us, and enjoying your Friday nights. And we appreciate you guys for spending time with us on Fridays because we do know you guys are always stuck at home. So why not be stuck at home with us on Fridays? We appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's it, right? I think I nailed everything.
Nailed it.
Anything? Anyone got anything else? No.
Nope.
All right. And with that, the Atlanta Falcons blew a lead in the Super Bowl, and they blew another lead today. So suck it, Falcons.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Bats. Chicken of the cave. Whammy!
Word, homies.
Touchdown, baby.